Hello, everyone, and welcome into the 610 podcast. We've enjoyed bringing you conversation so much that we want to open it up to the listeners. If you want to get in on the conversation, email me at 610podcast, capital PHL, @gmail.com to get your Philadelphia sports questions asked. That's 610podcast, capital P, capital H, and capital L @gmail.com. Now to the conversation.
Lay low, hit the sun, everybody have a real good time. Real good time. Yeah, we cool, yeah, we drunk, lost my mind, and baby, I feel high. I feel high. Lay low, hit the sun, everybody have a real good time. Real good time.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into the 610 podcast. I'm your host, Jay Hollihan, coming to you late on this Monday evening, discussing the Philadelphia Phillies defeating the Colorado Rockies in walk-off style 2-1 tonight. We'll be talking about that. I apologize for not giving a series recap to the four-game series that started last Thursday and finished up on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll talk about that a little bit. Not going to go too much in that, as we're going to really be talking about the walk-off win tonight. So the Phillies have been a Jekyll and Hyde team, I guess is the right word you want to use, or just an inconsistent team. I mean, we've seen some spurts throughout this season thus far. 17 games in on this offense. It's been very, very strange, to say the least, because typically, from what I can remember the last two seasons, the Phillies' slow starts were typically due to, one, inconsistent play all the way around, but two, their inability to get strong pitching. And it hasn't been that way. I mean, they've really done a nice job in the last couple of games, specifically, I think, with their pitching. They haven't been giving up, too many. I mean, I know the Pirates game yesterday, Zach Wheeler obviously had that bad pitch in a rough inning that I thought really stemmed from the error by Alec Boehm early on. And I just feel like, had that not happened, obviously things could have gone differently. And I thought Friday, Christopher Sanchez maybe didn't have his best stuff, but you would have liked to have thought that against Bailey Falter, the offense could have gotten things going. And then, last Thursday, they did. They hit the long ball. And then Saturday, they were able to eke out a win against the Pittsburgh Pirates that you thought, okay, maybe that'll get things going. And it didn't happen. Didn't happen Sunday, and it certainly didn't happen tonight against the Colorado Rockies. So, from that standpoint, they're just not doing enough in terms of the little things, I think, that can ultimately help you out for the bigger picture in their offense. I think one thing is for sure, you look at the last 5 games, and this is where we'll be talking about 5 games as a total. They have not been hitting the ball out of the ballpark, which is what this offense is, of course, built to do. They're built to slug. They haven't been slugging. Now, we'll play Rob Thomson's clip in a moment on him talking about the inconsistent play of the offense, and specifically on the night as a whole, where they were only able to get 6 hits. And it's strange because the pitcher that they were facing, Cal Quantrill, is not necessarily someone that's going to stifle hitters, at least from what I've seen in his past. And he hasn't been having that great of a start to his season. And the Phillies were unable to manufacture any type of runs against him if the long ball wasn't working, which has been the problem right now. I mean, and I kind of feel like the one thing about their approach that, and they talk about how they're hitting the balls hard, and I tweeted this out there earlier, why not choke up on the bat and get more control and work to just get singles and have that type of approach instead of killing the ball, for the home runs? Why not go about it in that way? Choke up on the bat and, try and maybe shorten up your stance and your swing and get it going that way instead of doing what they've ultimately been doing. Now, they've gotten 2 walk-off wins in the last 3 days. That sometimes for a ball club can really accelerate things. I mean, we saw 2 years ago when the Phillies walked it off. They had that big win against the Los Angeles Angels. They were already in the middle of a big win streak then, but then that, I felt like that kind of was a launching pad to sweep out the Brewers and then go on. I think it was like a 9-game win streak. So I feel like for the Phillies, you hope that can be the effect, that same effect with 2 walk-offs in the last 3 days. Now, I don't know, ultimately. I mean, their offense has been so wishy-washy. And when you look at it, I mean, the last 5 games, they've only walked 12 times. I mean, think about that. 12 times you've had, over ranging around 33 at-bats in 5 games. 31 against the Pirates last Thursday, 33 Friday, 34 Saturday, 33 on Sunday, and then 33 again tonight. Only 12 walks. 13. I mean, I don't understand. That's something where, you just look at it, and, I mean, I don't necessarily have the counts in front of me to see how many 3-ball counts they got to. But in terms of just having that type of an approach, I think would benefit the Phillies as well. Because, I mean, the long ball is not working. Work some walks. That's a big thing that they can do. Now, as I mentioned earlier, thank goodness their pitching has kept them in games so that way they're able to come around at the end like they were able to do tonight and they were able to do ultimately on Saturday, in which they got fantastic job by Spencer Turnbull, and then Aaron Nola tonight was fantastic. I mean, I what sucks the most ultimately about the dampened mood, I think, a little bit on the win is Aaron Nola went 7 1/3, 9 strikeouts, and had his best performance of the season thus far. Far better than I think any performance he had last year early on in the season, because it felt like he was on tonight. And, I mean, I think the warmer weather really helped him. I mean, he pitches much better, I think, throughout the summertime when it's humid out. So I think that all helped. But it sure as heck didn't help the offense. However, Rob Thomson was not ultimately too upset about how the offense did tonight swinging the bat.
I'm not sure what to make of it, but we did hit some balls hard, and that's all I look at. The fact that they didn't go to the ballpark, I don't know what that is, but we did hit some balls hard. Stott's having good at bats. He really is. And Trey looks like he's coming around, which is nice. And we just got to get a couple other guys going. We're getting great pitching. Hopefully that keeps going. And then once our offense gets going, then we're going to be just fine. But right now we're grinding and we're finding ways to win. So that's a good sign.
So Rob will keep his guys typically motivated that way. I mean, he's not someone that is going to kill them in the press conference. He made that very clear day one. Now, he always said that whenever I come in here, I'm not going to be killing anyone, throwing anyone under the bus. That's what he said the second he became the Phillies interim manager. What was it, June 2nd, June 1st, 2022? Yeah. So, and ultimately, I think some people don't get that, but that's kind of just, that's what he said from the beginning. And I don't know why that would be such a problem with people, but, I mean, it is what it is. I think when he talks about that slug, though, in his mind, typically, and I saw that, was it against it was, I think, the end of the Cincinnati series or game 2 against the Cardinals, where the approach at the plate was much better. And then all of a sudden, it started a few games there where they put some stuff together offensively. You know, you look at the strikeouts the last couple of days, they only had 4 tonight. You know, so they were putting the ball in play. It's just they weren't, I thought they weren't shortening up their swing, choking up on the bat, and, getting the ball out there that way, instead of looking for a 400-foot home run, which is something that this offense will ultimately always look to do, but they need to be much better about that approach. So I'm really glad we got this walk-off win tonight. Of course, I mean, you don't want to complain about winning, but the Phillies need to, okay, we got this one. Let's build off of it. I mean, remember last year it was they'd win 5 in a row, lose 5 in a row, win 5 in a row, lose 5 in a row, win 4 in a row, lose 4 in a row, win 2 in a row, lose 2 in a row. It was this weird kind of trend, and with the slow start they got off to, that's ultimately why they found themselves 7 under at the end of May, which we'll be talking about, when that comes as well, probably, hopefully, fingers crossed. Because, I mean, with they're getting great pitching. Their offense just needs to come around. And Trey Turner had a good series against the Pirates, and I thought he did some things tonight. I thought Bryson Stott also did some things tonight that were good. Brandon Marsh has been doing a solid job for you thus far. One guy, Kyle Schwarber has had a pretty good start to his season as well. One guy that's obviously off to a weird start is Bryce Harper. I'm not concerned about Bryce Harper. But the one thing that was annoying was so there's one out there in the 8th. Trey Turner struck out looking on a BS strike 3 call. But Bryce gets to a 3-1 count, and the pitcher, Nick Means, didn't look like he wanted any business of giving Bryce Harper a pitch to hit. And he gave him one. He gives him, I'll have to look exactly at the pitch cast here, I'm trying to find it, but he did not put a good swing on the bat. He tried one hand in it. It was really kind of unusual for Bryce Harper, because if you ever notice, he always has both hands on his bat when he follows through. He only gave this a 76.3 mile per hour off the bat, and the pitch he hit was outside. It was a cutter that was away, and would have been possibly ball 4. And if it wasn't, we can moan and complain with the home plate umpire. It was not, Harper did not, and it wasn't Means, I'm sorry. It was Jalen Beeks. Lefty on lefty, too, which, Harper can hit lefties, obviously. But I don't think tonight, certainly, he had that lefty specifically squared up well. 3-1 count, he could be on first. 2 on, 1 out with JT up, and then he hit a hard ball to center. And, still, you given the chances there, you'd want to have that. And it's unfortunate that Bryce Harper couldn't put a better swing on the ball. But like I said, I'm not going to be concerned with him. He's the least of my worries. But yeah, so going to extras, and Christian Pache obviously walks it off. Great, good, and you got that win, and you're back above 500. But things still aren't clicking. Jeff Hoffman almost had a scary moment there, in the 9th. Where he was trying to cover the plate, and it almost ended up being a really dangerous play. I think both are okay. I don't know why the Rockies pinch run your starting pitcher, Kyle Freeland. I did a preview for each Major League Baseball division, and one of which was obviously the NL West. that's just one of many that I wonder will cost Bud Black his job this season, because it really feels like, he's well worn out his welcome. But, regardless. Tonight, and they were arguing that. I don't know. I don't really understand that blocking of the plate rule when it comes to that, because JT is trying to get Hoffman the ball, and Hoffman has every right to the ball at that point. He's going for the ball. And then it just so happened he's coming down and Freeland's sliding into him, that they just get tangled up. And ultimately, they called it out. And then you look at the replay, and I really didn't know. I mean, I was kind of with the players there where I thought it looked like he might be safe. Thank goodness it wasn't. And the Phillies were able to survive. But, I mean, even I didn't see too many pushback from the Rockies fans. I think most of them are just at this point kind of frustrated and irritated with the franchise as a whole. But I certainly can tell you what, that was a bang-bang play, and thank goodness we got the better end out of that deal. But, man, I mean, that was not an okay situation to put one of your starting pitchers in. That was incredibly stupid by Bud Black. I can tell you that much. But regardless, we'll take it. We'll take the win as well. And 9-8, second in the NL East. But, can we continue to move this thing forward? Can we continue to have this, win be potentially a launching pad into something more? We'll find out tomorrow with Ranger Suarez on the mound. He'll be taking on Austin Gomber. So far this season, Gomber in 3 starts is a 3.60 ERA. I don't believe we've ever seen him last 2 starts, though. He's been good. That was at home. Of course, and on the road, his 1 start against the Diamondbacks. He got dinged up a little bit. And then Wednesday, Christopher Sanchez is on the bump. And they'll have Ryan Feltner on the mound for the Colorado Rockies. And he's been off to a pretty decent start for his season as well. 2.45 ERA. He's been going about 5-6 innings, which obviously is good for your starting pitcher that you want. Pretty common, but we just hope that we're able to. It's weird though. This is going to be a night game for the final series. Usually it's a day game, but it's going to be a night game. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm glad we got this because wanted to catch up here and get on, and thank goodness we got a walk-off. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.
Robert tree plant. Anyone knows that ant can eat a rubber tree plant, but he has high hopes. He has high hopes. He has high apple pie in the sky hopes. So when you start to feeling low, instead of letting go, just remember that ant. Whoop, there goes another rubber tree. Whoop, there goes another rubber tree. Whoop, there goes another.